Call the roll.
Commissioner Tedesco? Commissioner Volpe?
Here.
Commissioner Clock?
Here.
Commissioner Orlowski? Alternate Commissioner Caird?
Here.
Alternate Commissioner Pulse?
Present.
Alternate Commissioner Ma?
Here.
Commissioner Santiago?
Here.
Vice Chair Salka?
Here.
Chair Hammersley?
Hammersley's here. We hear from Commissioner Tedesco and Commissioner Wolowski, as well as Commissioner Coviello. All of them are not going to be present tonight. We will sit Commissioner Caird for Commissioner Tedesco and Commissioner Ma for Commissioner Wolowski. And with that, we have a quorum. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All please stand for a moment of silent reflection. All right, thank you. Item number 6, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting on September 20th, 2022.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Salka with a motion and second.
Second.
Commissioner Clark with a second. Any discussion on this? Everyone's reviewed it. Everyone good? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, Commissioner Discussion Subcommittee reports. Commissioner Volpe, you have something for us.
Good evening, everyone, my fellow commissioners. So as you know, quite some time ago, I was given this very large opportunity to take a look at food trucks in our community to see if there was need to revise our regulations for food trucks. After what looks like it's almost a 2-year study now, I can tell you that only one food truck applicant since 2020 has come before this commission. And that's because our regulations are pretty outlined, and you should have an infograph that I made. Graphic design is my hobby, so it looks really good for the public, just so you can see from all the way over there. So basically what this infograph will outline for you are the sections, and in brief, it's not verbatim, but the sections within our regulations that cover food trucks, why the ZBA has control of this, and when I think it should be appropriate, like it was in February and March of 2021, to come before this commission. And I do think that it was wise in hindsight now that we did have that applicant before us, so that we could undergo this sort of analysis of what this looks like. I also will say that the ZBA, out of 9 of the applicants that they saw in the last 2 years, 4 of them were for temporary events. So it isn't also that the ZBA is inundated with food trucks. Now, it might seem that way, but at the end of the day, it's 1-day permits, such as, or 1-day special exceptions, such as the farmer's market, or other events, right? Or it's on a limited hourly scale. It's not like what we saw in front of us, where it's like, I'm going to be open every day and this hour to this hour, more like a brick and mortar. A lot of these are, I'm going to be open Saturday nights from this time to this time. So overall, our regulations and staff in the Planning and Zoning Department are doing a good job on this, and I don't see a need to move forward, but I'm glad that we have data, and you should have gotten a document forwarded to your email today that has my notes and every meeting about food trucks from the last 2 years, a synopsis of every single one.
All right. Thanks, Christine. I know you undertook that at the crux of the pandemic hitting in, so
Yeah,
the delay is understandable,
I appreciate that.
or delay or the amount of time.
Thank you.
But thanks for your information. Thanks for your findings. And with that, I think we'll put food trucks to rest for the time being anyway. Should we need to go back there and visit, we have somebody who has the historical knowledge to take it up again if we need that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other subcommittee? Oh, Peter, go ahead.
Just that Mary Ellen, Glenn Chalder, and I were at the last council meeting, and our request for funds to continue on with the regulation subcommittee was approved by council, and we'll be working out with Mary Ellen and Glenn with via the subcommittee the cadence of deliverables and how we move forward expediently with that. But that was good news and positively received by the council.
Thanks, Peter. And I appreciate, as I said to you, I appreciate you attending that meeting I think it was the week after we met, so it was last week, but I appreciate you being there to answer any questions and to advocate for that on our behalf as well. So is there any other subcommittee reports at this time? All good? Before I go into our preamble, I'm just going to let people know who might be here. I think I've spoken to everybody in the audience that we have a number of items that we're going to be looking for a table on. And those items include item A under public hearings, which is the Northfield development on Merida Waterbury Turnpike. In addition, we will be looking for a table on items B, C, and D under the business meeting as well. Each of those items have a variety of different commissions or departments that they're looking for input from. So we're not going to take any of those up tonight, and we will table those and hopefully take those up 2 weeks from tonight. So with that, good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Robert Hammersley. I'm the chair of the commission, and I'd like to take a few moments to explain the meeting format. Aside from administrative items, which you just heard, tonight's meeting is comprised of two parts, a public hearing and a business meeting. I'm not going to go through the public hearing because we don't have a public hearing tonight, but in terms of the business meeting, during the business meeting, the commission will deliberate on applications submitted to the commission and decide how to act on them. The commission may, 1, approve an application as submitted, 2, approve it with stipulations, conditions, or modifications, 3, table an action for a future meeting, which I just talked about, and in some cases, we may deny an application. 4 affirmative votes of the commission are generally required to approve any application. If you have to leave the meeting before a decision is rendered, please call the planning department tomorrow afternoon and get the results from tonight's meeting. And with that, under item 8A, I'm looking for a table on that.
Mr. Chair, make a motion, we table item A, 8A on that's SPU 666.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Clark with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Under business meeting, item 9A, Buck LLC, site plan modification application for original approved plan SPR 1823 to revise the building designs and grading around the site. Square footage of proposed building is 5,000 square foot and 3,250 square feet. Property located at 50 Mastriani Place, Zone I2, SPR 1823.1. This was tabled from our last meeting. Mr. Judas, the floor is yours, sir.
It's over on my face here. Good evening, Mr. Chair and Commission members. For the record, my name is Stephen Judas with the office of Harry Colinson, 876 South Main Street in Plantsville. Try to get this on to the next page. I apologize, I didn't have time to color this up. I was preparing for the other public hearing that was continued, so I put my efforts in the wrong application. But this is a site plan modification. This is property of Buck LLC on Mastriani Place. We had proposed a similar layout previously that commission approved earlier this year, but it was kind of a two-story situation where we had a walkout on the backside and the building to the north wasn't as long. So we made some grade modifications to the buildings. The buildings are now one level. They're not going to be a walkout on the backside. But for the most part, the site stayed the same. We did modify some of the parking. We did go through and address comments we received from planning, engineering, water, and so on. I believe all those items have been addressed. There was one issue about sidewalk waivers. Originally, this commission had granted us a sidewalk waiver earlier this year, and the question was, would we be required to request another sidewalk waiver? I don't know technically if we have to do that with a site plan modification or not. I was hoping we didn't, but I don't know. Does Mary Ellen has an opinion on that?
But I think that just in the interest of trying to cross all our Ts and dot our Is, and we'll ask the commission that question.
Okay, so we would respectfully request another a sidewalk waiver for this modification for the same reasons that we had quoted previously. The Mastriani Place is industrial road. There's no sidewalks on it currently, and there's a rails to trail right adjacent to us. Most people park here to jump on the rails to trails. They wouldn't be walking in by our facility. So that pretty much covers it. It's pretty similar to what we originally proposed, but it was enough of a change that I think staff felt it should come back before this commission. And we could. So any questions for me, I'd be more than happy to answer them for you.
The only question I had, Steve, was outdoor storage requirements. And my understanding is that because it's in an I2 zone, that there is no outdoor storage requirements. But you want to just speak to that for a moment?
So you're correct. In an I2 zone, outside storage is permitted. However, on the application, I outline an area for outside storage, even though I think that's more of an I1 requirement. We did keep it behind the building, away from the road, away from neighboring properties and outside of the site. There's nothing, we aren't storing any heavy equipment or large items on this site. It's just some materials that the applicant would use during the course of construction, is running his business. He's a restoration company.
Okay. And then there was a note in our memo from staff about the water department waiting for a fixture count. But they mentioned that we may stipulate that. You have a problem with us stipulating?
Not at
that?
all, and that's very common. The architectural plan, they need the architectural plans for fixture count, and at this point, those plans just aren't far enough along to give an accurate count for the water department, but we will provide that moving forward.
Okay. Any questions from members of the commission to the applicant? Peter?
So, Steve, you mentioned you did something with the grade. What did you do?
So this building was originally designed with an upper level in the front
Yeah,
and a lower level in the back.
yeah.
So it would be, there would be drive-in garage bays in the front and then drive-under garage bays in the back. So what we did is we actually lowered the building and to match the grade better around the front, and then we picked the grade back in the back side of the building. So there really isn't any access on the back side.
Okay.
The front is more consistent with the road. It's not high. And then the back, we were forcing the grades to make that work, and the quotes for construction kind of showed that. So that's why it was decided to maybe take another look at this and try to come up with a solution that was more cost effective.
Gotcha. And I think on the sidewalk thing, I think you covered why it was waived last time, because National Way is a small
Fully
dead-end
developed
road, and the
cul-de-sac,
rails
yeah.
to trails is right there.
Yep.
And so the rails to trails essentially is the sidewalk. And I remember this conversation.
Yeah, anyone walking around here is
Oh,
going to
like,
be,
well, that is the sidewalk, so why have a second one
Right.
when it's not going anywhere? So I think that was our justification around that. So I have no problem granting a sidewalk or re-granting a sidewalk waiver for those reasons. So that's it.
Any other questions for members of the commission?
Steve, what is the timing on phase 2? Do you have a timeline on that?
it would, I would, he's hoping to do it right after phase 1, but I would say within 5 years. So within the statute of approval for this. site
Within
plan.
5?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Also,
That's it.
anyone else? No, I'll just say that I did vote. This is one of the few where I voted for the sidewalk waiver for the very reasons that Peter mentioned, and I intend to vote for that waiver tonight as well. So, okay, if we have no other questions, Steve, you all set?
I also thank you for your time
All
and
right.
consideration tonight.
All right, so we're looking for, first we'll start with the sidewalk waiver. We're looking for a motion for a sidewalk waiver.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we approve a sidewalk waiver for SPR 1823.1.
A motion, second.
Second.
Santiago with a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please, Marion.
Commissioner Volpe?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Alternate Caird?
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Ma?
Yes.
Commissioner Santiago?
Yes.
Vice Chair Selka?
Yes.
Chair Hammers?
Hammers is a yes. Motion or waiver, motion carries 7-0. And now we're looking for a motion on the overall application.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion, we approve SPR 1823.1.
You want a stipulation on that motion, Bob?
On the I'm sorry,
On the,
on the water.
yeah, fixture count, that they just worked that out with engineering, I guess. or-
So move on that, Chairman. Include that, please, in the,
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Commissioner Santiago with a second. You gotta go quick, Tessa. I saw you were getting ready, but is there any further discussion on this? We call the roll on this one, Mary Ellen, please.
Commissioner Volpe?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Caird?
Yes.
Alternate Commissioner Ma?
Yes.
Santiago?
Yes.
Vice Chair Selka?
yes.
Chair Hammers?
Yes, 7-0. Congratulations, good job.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Okay, item 9B, we're looking for a table on this.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second?
Is that Commissioner Ma with this?
No.
Oh, was it Jen?
Jen, yeah.
Real quick. That's it, real quick. You gotta be real quick. Is there any discussion on the table, motion table? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Items 9C up at the same time, if that's okay. We're looking for a table on both of those items.
I make a motion, we table SPU 666 and SPR 1844.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ma with a second. Good job. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 9E, Southington Sparrow LLC site plan application for proposed 24,344 square foot medical building, property located 1808 West Street, I-1 zone, SPR 1855. Seth, it's all up to you, man.
Let's see, it's the bill. Trying to open my file.
The Yankee game starts at 8 o'clock, Seb. Aaron Judge is first at bat. So for myself, I'd like to see that.
Can't find my file.
That's motivation if there's not.
Did you put a jump drive in, Seth?
Where?
Did you put your jump drive in?
Yeah.
Go down there to that folder at the bottom.
Yeah, I can hear it from here. It's bouncing out of it though.
That one?
No, at the very bottom.
Oh,
Triangle.
I see it
Yeah.
right here. It usually has,
See that OS disc at the bottom there? Is that it?
There you go.
Labeled Seb. Caleb, you want to jump around there and give him a hand?
folder.
Caleb, you're
Okay, we got it.
I just had to get up.
just literally standing.
You're amazing.
Wow,
Yeah, you know, I got some
Oh, we
skills.
got it.
really well done.
Sorry about that.
So, Caleb, Seb, what, do you want to bounce that thing on the sidebar there off to the side so we get it off the screen? Caleb will help you.
What is that you're looking for?
I gotta earn my keep, Seth. Keep me around.
He's getting paid here where he's got to earn his pay.
Space, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even know where I'm going. Here.
Okay, a little over to the left. There's that little arrow midway down. Keep going down. Keep going down. Arrow.
There you go.
There we
Now
go.
we're cooking.
You can actually make it a full
Even make
screen
You
too.
could also do that, but for the sake of
Oh,
getting going,
No, that's just going to increase the size.
It's broken.
it seems the computer itself is having a hard time. Okay,
Seb, go for it.
so move it.
Don't touch anything.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commission members. Seth Bovino, planner with Kratzer Jones, represented the applicant. For orientation purpose, this is West Street. North is to the right.
Hey, Seb, can you get closer to the mic, please? It's hard to hear you up here.
Wow, okay. Mr. Chairman, Commission members, Seth Bovino, planner with Kratzer Jones, representing the applicant. For orientation purpose, this is West Street. North is to the right towards Bristol. West Green Street is located somewhere here, about 600 feet away from this intersection of the proposed curb cut. The proposal is for 24,344 square feet of one-story medical building, slab on grade with 120 parking spaces located at 1908 West Street, which is on the west side of West Street and the just north of West Green Street, as I indicated. It is located in an I-1 zone and surrounded by an I-1 zone. It's I-1 to the north, west, and south. served by public water and sewer. The land area is 2.36 acres, 120,815 square feet. In this zone, the minimum requirement is 20,000. The lot coverage allowed in this zone is 35%. We propose 23.7%. The minimum lot frontage allowed is 100 feet. We propose 376.62 feet of property frontage. The side yard allowed is 15 feet. Our closest point is 28.7 feet to the north at this location. The required landscape area is 2,400 square feet based on the number of parking spaces. We have 2,800 square feet. All lighting on the building and in the parking area is full cutoff LED lighting. The proposed drainage maintains the patterns, the current patterns, which are west to east, away from West Street. To meet the desired requirement, we propose an underground storage on the west side of the building, and eventually this drainage ties into the property store and eventually into West Green Street. The curb cut is proposed about 600 feet away from the intersection where the signal is on West Green Street. Good sight distances coming out of the driveway. A traffic study was provided for your file. Scott Askett is here to give you details on the traffic study. The building is at 1 story with pitch roofing, as I mentioned during my initial part of the presentation. That's a cover sheet. You see the roof of the building proposed, and various materials along the front and interesting jogs in the front of the building. Charlie Nyberg, the architect, is here to discuss that. At this point, unless you have any questions, I'll have Scott and Charlie go over the traffic in the building.
Why don't we have your folks come up and then we'll save questions until your presentation is done.
Good evening. For the record, Scott Hesketh. I know the Yankees game starts at 8, and you probably got a 10-minute drive, so we should make this quick.
Watching on my video.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, we were asked to do a traffic impact statement for the proposed development. We've researched the files of the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Route 229 out here carries approximately 20,000 trips on a daily basis. Morning peak hour of slightly under 1,500 trips, and an afternoon peak hour of about 1,700 trips. The roadway's got 2 northbound lanes and 1 southbound lane across the site frontage. There's a traffic signal located at the intersection of Route 229 and West Queen Street. There's also a traffic signal at the Cumberland Farms driveway, just north of the site. The proposed development, as you've heard, is over 24,000 square feet of floor area, a medical office building. According to the Institute of Transportation Engineers, the building of this size will generate about 938 trips on a daily basis, half of them entering, half exiting. A morning peak hour volume of 75 trips, an afternoon peak hour of 96 trips. For purposes of our analysis and study, we assumed a 50% distribution for traffic entering and exiting the site, both to the north and south along 229, and ran some capacity analysis at the proposed site driveway. The site driveway is proposed to operate under stop sign control, and the Route 229 approaches operate free. The capacity analysis indicates that the site driveway approach will operate at a level of service D during the morning peak hour with average delays of about 27 seconds. And during the afternoon peak hour, a level of service E with delays of approximately 41 seconds per vehicle. The Route 229 approaches will operate at levels of service A. As Sev indicated, there's significant site distances at the site driveway. You can see approximately 700 feet in each direction, both to the north and the south. That's a site distance which is meets the CONDOT criteria for 63 miles per hour. The CONDOT counts indicate 85th percentile speeds of 55 and 47 miles per hour, so we've got plenty of intersection site distance. Based on the existing traffic volumes, the site-generated traffic volumes, and the levels of service as outlined in our report. We believe that the roadway network has sufficient capacity to accommodate the traffic volumes for this proposed development. If you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to entertain them after Charlie's done speaking. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. Charlie Nyberg with Shadler Seldow in Farmington, 5 Waterville Road. We're the architects and have been the architects for Starling for a number of their projects. As been mentioned, this is a 24,000 plus square foot single story building, and it'll be made up of a number of practices, internal medicine, OBGY, probably a blood draw. Starling right now is in process of putting together a list of the docs who will be coming in here. Some of them are already located in Plainville and will be moving to this particular location. Southington was a very much desired location for them. There was a number of sites in Plainville that they had looked at, but they wanted to get out of Plainville and come to Southington. Mr. Koff is here this evening. If you have any questions for kind of a representative of the owners from Starling, he is available to answer any of your questions. The building is, as Sev and everyone have mentioned, is a single story, we're looking at cost, either a wood frame or steel frame structure. There will be some hot roll sections for framing, a wood truss roof. The plan, sorry, I'm stupid. The floor plan.
Which one you?
First one, the plan. Okay. That's a floor plan of the building, and it is a long, obviously, rectangle. We had to do this because of the site in terms of balancing the size of the building and the number of practices that would go inside, along with the amount of parking that would be required. So what we have set up is at either sort of north, east, and southeast ends would be the entrances to the building, and as where Sev has noted, drop-off points. The other 2 pop-outs are for seating. So the concept of the building is one of seating and seating across the entire east front side of the building, with all of the practices being oriented from there to the rear. So when you come in, you will be able to go to your dock, reception, check-in area, take a seat, be instructed. So we have a back door corridor from north to south, as well as a front area for seating. And the practice corridors will run off of that from east to west. We also have a location in the what would be the southwest corner for our building services, water, sprinkler water, our fire protection, our domestic, and our electrical in that location. And I responded to engineering question, will be our location for any medical waste attributable to the doctors. Again, we're not in a surgery center. We're not in an outpatient surgery center. Nobody will be rendered incapacitated in this location. So all of that functionary material will be located in that corner where we do have an ability to have a vehicle come in and pick up materials, bring in laundry, what have you. The site does slope, as you know, from the street to the back. Sev has done a good job of kind of balancing everything. We do have a drop-off at the rear of the site with grade. And as again noted, was a question from engineering, we will have a concrete slab on grade. Structural backfill will be brought in from our grading because we do have this bowl. That will be brought in. We have a wall across the back. And then as Sev has mentioned is where the water retention is located. The wood truss roof or metal roof, we have our mechanical equipment will be in a tub, not a tub, but a pitched area to the west. So any equipment that we need for mechanicals and what have you will be located in that area. We're not worried about a view from west to east, but we are worried about the view from what would be east to west. So none of the equipment will be shown. There was also a comment about an emergency generator. We haven't shown that yet on site. We don't know exactly the size of it until we come up with all of our practices and their particular needs. But if that is, and will probably be a requirement from some of the other stuff we had been doing with Starling, but only for their medicines, their kind of refrigerators in each of the practices, and perhaps also attributable to maybe some life safety exit signs and emergency lights. If the power goes off, that will enable those materials not to degrade, but the building would be closed. So that's briefly my comment. The exterior materials will be low maintenance, a shingle roof, and again, if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Anything else to add, Seth, before we open it up?
Sharon?
Anything else to add before we open it up?
No, sir, unless you have any questions.
Okay, I'll just note that the staff notes that you're seeking a sidewalk waiver. Is that in fact the case?
Pardon?
Are you seeking a sidewalk waiver on this application?
No, the sidewalk is shown on the plans.
So you're not seeking a waiver on this
No.
one? Okay. Good decision, I think. Thank you. Any questions for members of the commission? Peter?
Yeah, I was alluded to, so, Charlie, you mentioned maybe the representative here is, so are we to understand that Starling in Plainville is closing and those people are coming here and like all those, whoever doctors are in Plainville will now be in Southington? Can you expand a little on that?
Charlie Nyberg again, that is my understanding, because we had looked at a number of locations in Plainville for Starling about 3 years ago, over where Goodwill is across from the Plainville Plaza.
Yep,
They were talking with Calco Development to go into that location.
right.
But for one of the principals of Starling at the time leaving and going to Hartford Healthcare, that would have been a done deal, and that building would be up and whatever. But my understanding is in that plaza, there used to be a meat market and whatever in Plainville where there was a hardware store.
Yep.
That those docks are going to be moving to this location. Now, again, could be wrong, but that was my last understanding in dealing with some of the folks at Starling.
Is this facility bigger than what they have in Plainville?
Yes.
So they're expanding and coming to Southington, basically?
Yeah, and again, if you look at the facility in Plainville, the hardware store had been up in the front.
Right.
That is now something else. It's not associated with Starling. Starling only has that back portion that had been Parati's Meat Market, I believe. You used to walk in and it was a freezer almost when I was a kid. And I think it probably would grow a little bit to the west, but again, a much smaller facility.
Gotcha.
So you guys are getting the benefit of Starling coming to Southington. And again, as Rob and Starling had been looking at a myriad of sites over the last year and a half, and this finally came along, and we are here.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you for that. Seven, notice there's not a lot of, not that you need it, but I'm just going to bring it up in terms of foliage or things like that, on the sides or whatever. Is there thoughts about that? I think you have something on the plan in front, but on the sides or whatever. I'm just looking if you're going to, instead of a stark
You're
building.
proposing a typical landscaping on the site.
You are.
Street trees along the frontage
Yeah.
and saving as many trees as possible on the north side next to that driveway that leads to
Right.
the rear factory.
Yeah.
The property line is not actually at the driveway. The property line is away from the driveway, so there's an opportunity there to save some of the trees on that north side.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Thank you. That's all, Mr.
You all set?
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? Caleb?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two quick ones. The first, I just want to circle back to the sewer pump and the backup generator. I did see in the notes to staff that the generator is going to be designated for just backup power supply for medical equipment and emergency lighting. However, I am cautious to think that it might be in everyone's best interest to have that also support the force pump.
Charlie's getting a workout.
My old memory, you're right, I did respond that that would probably be also tied in to the pump. However, if the building is closed, then there's no need for that emergency generator for the sewer pump. But that's something we will get into as we develop the requirement for the generator, as well as looking at the suggestion that you're making for the pump.
I guess the other question I would have for that is, and I'm not a plumbing guy, but there's going to be an appropriate backflow protection from the lateral, from the force pump well to the sewer main.
Whatever proper engineering and code requires, our MEP people will provide whatever is necessary, again, working with the sewer department.
Okay. And then my second, and I don't want you to go anywhere unless if this is yours. This is a general question. As we're looking at West Street, and I'm happy to see that this is moving in here because I think it's a great win over Plainville. Ha ha ha.
I hope I'm right.
It would, regardless, it's coming here. So I do see that to the south, there's another parcel that connects to West Queen Street. Is there any possibility that these two properties can be linked so that the two parking lots can be connected?
The property on the south side, it's a corner lot, and it has a curb cut, maybe 150 feet from the light heading on West Queen Street. The grades kind of drop off in that area. That's a different use altogether. That's an industrial use versus an office space. You thinking of putting a driveway that comes into this area? Or
To access West Queen from the parking lots themselves.
Or are you thinking that the people from here might cross over to go to the light?
Yes.
That's what you think. Yeah, we could show an easement there, a cross easement.
Thank you.
Bill, second?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. Any other questions from members?
Mr. Chairman, just a question, a couple.
So-
On item 4 on the engineering notes where it says DOT encroachment permit is required, and you said agreed, what is the process to get that? Is that a complicated process? And does that affect this application prior to us approving it, or is this an after approval?
No, the state always looks for you to approve the site. Jim can concur to that. And then they will look at the application, but there will not be any changes that I expect because the driveway doesn't make sense to move it south. It's as far north as possible.
Okay. Another question, I've always got a concern on West Street when they're doing a left turn out and there's nothing we can really do about it. But on the traffic study, what did you come up with on the average speed on West Street during those peak times? Is that, I'm not talking posted speed now, I'm talking actual, what's really happening?
I don't have information in front of me at the moment for during the peak hour. However, I beg your pardon. We do have that. The Condon information indicated 85th percentile speeds of 55 miles an hour and 47 miles per hour in the two directions. And I don't have it for peak hours, but yeah. So
it's
it's posted
50,
at,
is it, when you said 55, what is that, north, south, or?
I believe it's 55 miles per hour was, I believe, in the northbound direction and 47 in the southbound direction. I believe. Let me just check.
So that means if someone's coming out of the building and they head north, they're going to be coming into traffic at 55 miles an hour, trying to get across. And I'm just trying to make a point that nothing, that's going to stop it, but it's just a concern that we have on West Street. And I know that there's a study, I'm not sure what the end result of that study is going to show, And the other question is, on the stacking, how many cars can be stacked from the traffic light if you're heading south, from the traffic light back to your entrance and exit? Do you know how many cars can be stacked there? Or the distance?
60 feet approximately to the,
No, the distance is 600 feet from the light to our driveway, so there's plenty.
600? Okay,
if it's 600 feet, then you could probably get about 30 vehicles
okay,
in there.
okay, okay,
Also,
yes.
all right. Any other questions for members of the commission?
And sometimes does stack up almost to that point.
Yeah, I just wanted to get this on the record, because it's a concern on West Street and,
There's a light there which, when it goes red, allows the movement out.
right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I just want to follow up on Commissioner Cole's inquiry on cross easements there. Are you saying that you are agreeable to at least putting in the plan a cross easement in the south, I think it's the southern part of the property over to West Queen Street?
Yes,
Okay.
this property is owned by the same property owner. I'm sure we could work something out.
Yeah, I think that would be beneficial to address a lot of the problem that we all know are out there on.
It's
with
beneficial
regards
to
to
this
traffic.
applicant.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so people, if they wanted to take a left-hand turn, they have the option to circle around there should that get developed. So, okay, thanks, Seb.
Great.
Any other questions from members of the commission? Seeing none, we'll look for a motion on this.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve SPR 1855.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Keard with a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mary Ellen, can you please call?
Mr. Chairman, before, I'm sorry, there is a question. The access way that you were just discussing,
Yeah.
does that need to be in motion, or that's, Seb said he was going to look at it,
Yeah,
but is it something that we can stipulate in saying,
yeah, I think it's a good idea to stipulate it, Bob, so if you want to amend your motion.
I'd like to amend my motion that the applicant
Crossing.
Provide a cross
provide a cross
easement.
a usage out to West Queen Street.
We'll provide an easement.
An easement, yes.
Right.
A second the
Is that, okay, so that's a friendly amendment. Any other discussion? Mary Ellen, this is ready to go. We have everything they need here.
Yep.
Any other stipulations that are needed on this one?
No.
No? All right, can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Volpe,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
alternate Commissioner Caird,
Yes.
alternate Commissioner Ma,
Yes.
Commissioner Santiago.
Yes.
Vice Chair Salka.
Yes.
Chair Hammersley.
Hammers is a yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing your business here.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Mr. Nyberg, you're next. We'd like to see you in our town instead of Farmington. We're friendlier, I think you would find, but that's unbiased, so. Okay, moving on to item 10, administrative items. Mary Ellen, you have something on a public act that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, just a heads up for you guys. Actually, Harwood in the building department brought me over a act that I actually wasn't aware of. It didn't show up in our legislative update, but it was a act concerning Connecticut Clean Air Act 2225. And essentially, it requires each new construction of a commercial building or multi-unit residential building with 30 or more designated parking spaces for cars or light-duty trucks to include electric vehicle charging infrastructure that is capable of supporting level 2 vehicle charging stations or direct current fast charging stations in at least 10% of the parking spaces. So this is effective on or after anything after July 1st, or January 1st, 2023.
Wow.
So we got to work that into regulation somehow.
Yeah, so I reached out to Glenn, sent it over to him.
Just what I was thinking.
Good to have
He
you
just
in.
said that last week.
Yeah, we have a couple months, so I think we're,
We have some time, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
yeah, I appreciate that, Mary Ellen. Thank you for keeping us up to date on that stuff. Anything else under administrative items?
I didn't have anything, no.
Yeah. Jim Capone? Haven't heard you all night?
I know.
No? We're down here to see Judge too.
Or next meeting.
Yeah. Okay, so item number 11, I think it was late last week, Mary Ellen staff circulated a proposed agenda. This keeps us on the first and third Tuesday of every month moving into 2023. There's exceptions, as there are every year, for the months of July, August, and December, that we only have one meeting in that month, and because it's a municipal election year, we would not meet on election day. So those dates were sent over to everybody. I assume that everybody's had a chance to look at it. Can we get a motion to adopt that schedule?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
A motion, a second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Volpe with a second. Any further discussion on that? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Any applications, Mary Ellen?
Nothing right now.
All right, can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Commissioner Lau with a second. Good job. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We made our time.
Fine.
I know Bob Soka is looking to get out of here so we can see you.